Good morning, it's Mandy, your gluten-free OT with BehaviorWorx of Southwestern PA, here to bring you along with me for what I eat in a day. My days vary a little bit. Today's gonna be a work from home, but no matter what I do, they always start bright and early. My husband teaches and my daughter's in high school, so they're up and out the door, and that means I'm up too. Now, no matter what the day brings, before I do anything eating-wise, it's always so important to start with hydration. During the night, your body works so hard to process everything that you've consumed the day before, and you actually wake up in a state of dehydration. So it's super smart to drink a full glass of water, 16 ounces, first thing in the morning, and an even more helpful thing for your body is to heat this up a little bit so it's room temperature. That way, your body doesn't have to do any extra work. You just drink it and it goes right to work hydrating everything. And only then do I get to really start my day with what I love the most, a big cup of joe. So after I've started my day with water and I do let myself have a little bit of coffee, the next thing that I've learned that works really well for me and my health is a little thing I've taught my family to: fruit first. And so what we put into our bodies, especially first thing in the morning, the order really matters. And so when we start with whole fruit or whole foods that aren't processed or heavier with maybe dairy or a lot of meat that might be a little bit harder to digest, our body can put those foods right to work. My favorite foods to start with are our fresh berries. I personally love a mix of strawberries, blueberries, and raspberries. Those are my favorites. But oftentimes I'll just kind of use whatever is in season, but I do try to get the berries in at least once or twice a week. They have great antioxidants, super good for you, and they taste delicious. While I'm eating my fruit first, my reality is usually doing more than one thing at a time. So that might mean getting the next part of my breakfast ready. If I need a little protein, a great go-to is a hard-boiled egg or even a little bit of cottage cheese.
It's really helpful to note too that all fresh fruits and vegetables are naturally gluten-free, as is cottage cheese and eggs. So super simple, healthy, fairly quick breakfast, and you don't even have to check a label. Bonus.
So I've eaten most of my fruit first, so I'll allow myself to mix a little bit in with the cottage cheese. I love that flavor. It's just a little treat. And so I feel like this is a really great balanced breakfast for me. My fruit first, getting my whole food, a little protein with a hard-boiled egg, and cottage cheese. Bon appetit. All right, I am ready for a break from my computer. So that means it's time to get up, move around, stretch, and get some lunch. Yay! So in preparing my lunch today, I'm gonna have to do a true confession about our dinner last night. Quick, time-saving, gluten-free tip for you. Easiest dinner on the planet, rotisserie chicken. Now, just like everything else in the grocery store, not all rotisserie chickens are created equal. They're gonna say on the label, remember, wheat is an allergen, and so if it is in a product, it has to be listed. So when you look at your ingredient label on your rotisserie chicken, you can look. If there's wheat in any of the seasoning, or if it's like a breaded type chicken, it's gonna say on there, but many are not, this one included. So I'm gonna take advantage of that, use some of the chicken breast from last night's dinner, and create a super simple lunch. Now, what I often have on hand, a go-to for a good wrap or sandwich, is romaine lettuce. In place of bread, because I can't eat regular bread, you can use just a lettuce leaf to make kind of a wrap or almost like a taco-like sandwich. There are lots of gluten-free bread options, but that's also a really good healthy choice. However, I found these at Walmart, and I've had them one other time, and they're so good. It's a little pita pocket. So I'm gonna make today's lunch in a pita pocket, but just know you could do the same thing very easily in a piece of romaine lettuce. Got all my goodies for the inside chopped up. And now the fun part, getting our gluten-free pita bread. So good. I'm gonna just cut this in half See, just like a typical pita, it'll open right up and you can put all your goodies inside. I'm choosing to use hummus, although you could also use, like ranch dressing or even add maybe some cheese. I don't like to overdo it on my dairy throughout the day, so try to keep it pretty simple and healthy. Some lettuce and then a little bit of veggies for color. Delicious. This looks so good. Honestly, I feel really good about eating it too. My doctor gives me the tip all the time. Eat the rainbow, so make sure you're getting all the colors. This morning I talked about the importance of water, and this is something that I use each day. It's a little water bottle I ordered on Amazon. It measures the ounces and it also gives you some little motivational phrases to keep you going through the day. I fill this up once in the morning after I drink my first glass of water, and then again in the afternoon. Keeps me accountable and keeps me hydrated. All right, the troops are home. It's time for dinner, and tonight we are having a family favorite, lasagna. That was one of the biggies. We were so sad that we were gonna miss out on good Italian meals like that when we all got diagnosed with celiac, my girls and me. But you don't have to. It takes a little bit of looking. And there's an earlier video posted, Shop With Me, the gluten-free OT, and that's where I take you with me to Aldi and to Walmart to find some of the hidden gems that's gonna really make a difference in your gluten-free cooking. This brand, for example, oh my goodness, so good. That was one that I found at Aldi. I got the lasagna, which I haven't tried yet. Their noodles, delicious, absolutely delicious. I made a stuffed manicotti from this brand, so good. The recipe that we're gonna use tonight is an easy no-boil lasagna. So we're gonna go ahead and start putting that together. I'm also gonna show you a really another little hidden gem I found, a garlic bread that is like, you wouldn't even know it's gluten-free. I'm not kidding. So come along with us. Wearing my handy dandy apron because I know I'm gonna get these crushed tomatoes all over me. The first thing that we need to do is get 6.5 cups of crushed tomatoes. Mix that with our spices and herbs. And then we're gonna be able to layer that over the lasagna noodles. Remember I said this is a no cook first lasagna noodle. That's my kind of meal. I'm gonna mix these up. And also, as I was looking at this all laid out, I realized pretty much all of these ingredients I purchased at Aldi. Now I'm measuring the tomatoes because when it tells you what brand to buy, it's assuming there's a certain amount in their jar. And because these are Aldi brand, I'm not sure how many, so that's why I'm measuring them out. But 6.5 cups of the crushed tomatoes. But again, all this stuff from Aldi except for the pasta. And I just love it. I love the availability of fresh produce there, of good gluten-free options, and ways to cook so that our family doesn't feel like we're going without the good stuff. All right, let's get this to 6. Oh man, it is totally splattering. So we are gonna be adding 4 tablespoons of olive oil, 3/4 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 3/4 teaspoon of dry basil, and 1 1/4 teaspoon of dry oregano. We're just gonna mix this all together, and then this is gonna be the sauce that we'll be layering. The next thing that we need to put together is our cheese and egg mixture, and then the fun part, watching it all come together. Next up, we'll take the 2 eggs that we'll whisk together. We're gonna add those to 15 ounces of ricotta cheese and mix that up. And that will be our layering solution. So I shared again in earlier videos that my 20-year-old daughter, my 16-year-old daughter, and I were all diagnosed with celiac in 2017. So we've been living with it for a little over 4 years. We've gotten pretty used to it by now, but not everyone in our family has to be gluten-free. So there are definitely meals that I make where some of the options are gluten-free and some aren't. For example, when all of the kids are here, I have 3 stepchildren and my husband who aren't gluten-free, I'll usually make a big pot of spaghetti sauce and then I'll make 1 pot of regular noodles and 1 pot of gluten-free. But of course with a meal like lasagna, everything's touching, so the whole thing needs to be gluten-free. There's no separating that out. We begin with the tomato mixture, 1.5 cups on the bottom, followed by start of our noodles, the ricotta mixture, some mozzarella and Parmesan, and we're gonna keep going from there. Once it's all assembled, we need to cover it with aluminum foil. But here's a tip I learned, not necessarily in this recipe, but another time I was making lasagna. If you spray the foil really lightly with cooking spray, it doesn't stick to the cheese when you're all done. Alrighty, we are gonna put this in a 375-degree oven. Bake it for 50 minutes. Alrighty, here's the special treat I was so excited to tell you about. This is the Char brand, which has a lot of great gluten-free options. I got this one at Walmart, but in the Walmart freezer section, there's also another brand. It's a loaf of gluten-free French bread, and I'm telling you, it bakes up so nicely. 5 to 7 minutes at 400 degrees. For this meal, I'm gonna brush a little bit of melted butter across the top and add some garlic powder, and it's gonna be delicious garlic bread. Again, if we were cooking for the whole big family, I would probably make on a separate cookie sheet a loaf of non-gluten-free garlic bread. Okay, time for the best part. Took our French bread loaf out of the wrapper, and remember what I said before, when you are cooking gluten-free but not everyone in your family is gluten-free, something like garlic bread for example, you must use 2 separate pans. You don't want any cross-contamination of the crumbs or any pieces of the food to touch. When the girls were first diagnosed with celiac, they met with a nutritionist at Children's in Pittsburgh, and the nutritionist told us that if we can see a crumb, like a crumb of bread or cracker or something like that, we can see it with our naked eye, then that means it's big enough to cause trouble in the gut. So again, all the more reason, especially with crumbly things like breads, crackers, anything that breaks apart, you want to keep it on its own separate pan. Don't share, even though it's one more dish to do. Resist the temptation. Separate pans, separate toasters, keep those breads apart. So I did just put the melted butter on top of this. I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit of garlic powder and we're gonna be good to go. Throw this in the oven and I can't wait. I've been waiting for. Our garlic bread is cooked. I seriously love this stuff. All right, the moment of truth. Let's hope this doesn't fall apart. Oh my goodness, it worked. A gluten-free lasagna extraordinaire. Now my husband probably would have preferred meat in this, but for the sake of this video, I wanted to make the recipe on the box so we can give you an accurate review of that. However, I think maybe browning some sausage or some ground beef or something would have also worked just fine with this one, but we'll let you know what we think. day, seeing what I eat in a day. Like I said, this was a work from home day, so kind of simple breakfast and lunch and then a good family dinner. And by the way, that lasagna was a huge hit, even though there was no meat, but it was delicious. It stayed together, didn't fall apart, and everybody loved it. Had clean plate club all around. Anyway, thanks again. For more tips and tricks, you want to follow along, go ahead and subscribe and look for what's coming next with Kristan and with me. Have a great day.
Wait, there's no meat in this?